put my thoughts together and I was like, I want to create a brand that's going to create a feeling of empowerment. The whole point of having Spanglish to me was just to show that it's okay. Be your loudest hype woman, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to have your back the way that you have your back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chiquis and Chill. I'm your host, Chiquis. I hope you're all doing great on this lovely Cyber Monday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you were able to catch up with friends and family over the long holiday weekend. All right, guys, enough small talk. Let's get into the episode of Chiquis and Chill. Today's episode is all about Latinas in business. For those of you who don't know, I'm also a business owner. I have Be Flawless Cosmetics. I have Be Flawless Skin, which is skincare. And in reality, I started because I love skincare since I was 16 years old, and it just kind of brought me into the cosmetic world. I love both. My whole thing is just not only to make women look beautiful, but also to feel beautiful, all from like the name to the names of the products, everything. So I'm just really excited about today's episodes because I have someone very special here, and I want to introduce her. She's also a Latina. She's a businesswoman. Her name is Rachel Gomez, and her business is one of my favorites, you guys. I love it. Viva La Bonita. And if you guys do not know about Viva La Bonita, I'm going to put you up on game today. So, Rachel, say hello to everyone.
Hi, everyone. So happy to be here.
Yes, honestly, I'm excited. I'm excited because I'm going to be real with you. Everyone knows this is a space, a safe space to speak your mind, to say anything and everything. And I have been a follower of Viva La Bonita for a couple years now. I did not know exactly who was behind the brand. I started following. We're now friends, girl, on Instagram. Okay. Yeah. And I was, yes. I was lurking on your Instagram earlier. And I have to say that I love your insightful mind. Every post is for something. It has a reason to help, to inspire. And I'm all about that. And I love that you use your space for that. So I just wanted to say that. Then we'll get more into like the business aspect of it. But I did want to tell you that. And also ask you, how are you doing? How do you feel today?
Thank you so much for that. I'm feeling good. Today is actually my birthday.
Shut it. Happy birthday. Yeah. Oh my God. Look, this goes to confirm what I was feeling about her. What a selfless woman to say, like, you know what? It's my birthday. I should take it off. I should do whatever. But she's on a podcast with me, you guys, on her birthday. Oh my God. Thank you, Mama. Honestly, happy birthday.
Thank you. No, honestly, I was like, it's my birthday. It's cool. Like, this is one of the greatest gifts to be able to just share space with you. So I'm honored and happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I have to tell you, as a fellow business woman, as a Latina, as a woman that does my best to empower other women and just the world in any way that I can, I want to say that I admire you, that I'm proud of you. And I want everyone to get to know you today. I want everyone to know, because I feel that you can be an inspiration to many Latinas out there. And I don't know, I'm really excited about this. I'm excited about this. So I wanted to tell you, I am your fan, girl. I am your fan. As a woman, I love your business. I love all your stuff. honestly, I'm not lying. You can go check. I bought like a few things right now on the website because I hadn't been on there for a minute. And I was like, oh my God, so many cute things, the bucket hats, like just everything. I even bought some mugs. Let me show you. Let me read to you guys real quick some of her mugs. I love them. Too early for Pendejas. Absolutely. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yes, I need that one. I had that one. You had sent that one to me a while ago, but I bought the clear one. Cansada, pero I got shit to do is another one. Mm-hmm. Allergic to Pendejas. Who is not allergic to Pendejas? Dude, I love it.
Thank you.
So if you don't mind, I want to kind of get into your business and how it started. I would like to know how old you were when you started.
Yeah. Okay. So I started Viva La Bonita I want to say the idea came to my head, right? Like in 2010. At that time, I was like, gosh, in like my mid-20s, and I was working retail. Okay, I was a manager in, retail fashion, and I just felt like the Latina community was only represented and presented in one way.
Mm-hmm.
And me as a Latina, right? I was born here. My parents were born here, but my grandmother migrated here from Durango, Mexico. I was raised very traditional, right? Very, very rooted in my grandma's traditions that, she
Same
really
here.
wanted to implement, in the house. And I just felt like, am I Latina enough? I don't
Oh
look
my
that
God.
way. I
Yeah.
don't speak that way. Like, I'm not a part of that culture. And that was like the one thing that I felt like was being presented, for the Latina community. And working in retail, I would see my customers come into the stores that I was managing, and I'm like, okay, 80% of my clientele is the young Latina girl. I used to work at Wet Seal. Okay, I don't know if you
Oh,
remember Wet Seal.
yes. Of course I do.
I used to work at Wet Seal. I love that store. We were like the most poppin' store in the mall. And I understand that because the mall that I worked at the Northridge Fashion Center. And I know that that mall, right, is like, it was a main mall for the San Fernando Valley. So I understood why my clientele was almost 80 to 90% Latina. But I was like, does corporate not understand that that is our clientele? Like, why aren't these girls being represented in marketing? Why
Yeah.
isn't there strategies that speak to our community? And I just saw that there was an issue. Okay, kept it pushing. I'm like, little old me is not going to be able to change the world or change the structure of this company. So I switched companies and I started to work for Tilly's. I don't know if you're familiar with
Of
Tilly's.
course. Yes, Tilly's.
So Tilly's taught me a lot. They housed all these surf and skate brands, and that's when I learned the power of creating community for your brands through storytelling, through creating like a like-minded community, through your products, through your campaigns, through, you know, everything that you would pretty much implement into a brand. I
Like a
saw the
mission statement.
community. Yes, I saw the community that they were building, and I was like, okay, there has to be something for the Latina community. And I don't want to contribute to only catering to one type of Latina or one type of stereotype. So I put my thoughts together and I was like, I want to create a brand that's going to create a feeling of empowerment. We're
Yes.
going to embrace our Spanglish. Sorry. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to embrace our Spanglish. We're going to communicate with each other just like homegirls kicking it, just like girls giving each other advice, taking everything that I've learned from my childhood and my upbringing and implementing it to the storytelling of my brand.
Why do you like to highlight Spanglish?
The importance of Spanglish in our products and just across all aspects of our brand was to prove a point that it's okay to be authentically your Latina self, right?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a home where Spanish was the dominant language, but my grandfather, he was born in El Paso, Texas. And when he married my grandma, he knew because my grandfather was my grandmother's second marriage, and he knew
Okay.
that she was on her path to citizenship, right? So he would tell her, Vieja, if you're gonna want to become a citizen, you have to learn how to speak some English, right? And
Uh-huh.
also for her protection, because she was cleaning houses for families that only spoke English, he wanted her to know the language so that she would be safe. Because
I
sometimes
see.
my grandmother was alone in these houses. So he was like, I just want you to understand what people are saying around you so that nobody takes advantage of you and that you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So we had this rule in my house where it was like nobody could speak Spanish because
Oh, no
grandma has to
way.
learn English. So grandma picked up on the language when she was working with the families she was working with. So we wouldn't speak Spanish, but it became a habit. And this rule honestly started, I believe, when I was like 3 or 4 years old, from what my tia told me. So this is when I was developing, right? I
Okay.
was starting to speak and starting to have conversations. So there were times where I would hear like my tias talking to my grandma, and maybe my grandpa talking to my grandma, and they were talking in full on English, but they would have to throw in those Spanish words, and
Uh-huh.
vice versa. We'd be talking full Spanish and they throw in those English words. And it just became a language in my house. And it wasn't until I became older, maybe when I left high school, because in high school, I mean, I went to a pretty like Latino dominated school. I went to Silmar High. So I feel
Oh,
like, oh,
dang.
yeah, I feel like a lot of the kids there like also kind of understood the whole Spanglish thing we had going on. But it wasn't until I got into a space, a professional space, where when it was required for me to talk Spanish, when I would speak Spanglish, it was frowned upon. And
That's what
I
I was
was
about to tell
like,
you. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I was like, but this is me. This is who I am. I've never been told that this was wrong. This was a language that my grandparents spoke, that my parents spoke, like my tias, my cousins. Like, I'm confused. So
Right.
it took, it was an insecurity that I had for a very long time, where I would not speak Spanish at all because I was so scared of it, because I was so scared of the opinion, or what people were going to think of me. And, I did grow up with Selena music, and I did grow up with, that being the Selena thing. But then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it's not the Selena thing. Like, there's a whole community of people who speak Spanglish and who have those struggles of not knowing, like, okay, am I supposed to be just 100% Mexican? But I'm also like, I was born here, I'm American. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so the whole point of having Spanglish to me was just to show that it's okay. There is no right or wrong way for you to show up in spaces as a Latina. Because I think that if we don't understand by now, 2021, that Latinas are all different. We all come from different walks of life. We all see the world differently. We're not just one thing. Then we need to redirect our thoughts. So for me,
Yeah.
just having Spanglish in the brand is a way to show, to present myself to the world as who I am. And this is, the creator of Viva La Bonita. And just also another way to just show a part of the Latina community. Who knew that, like, Viva La Bonita was going to turn into this online community space where I was going to bring together women
On
who
pro.
were like, yeah, you know what? I don't look like the girl sitting next to me, but she's my fellow Latina, but we think the same. We have the same outlook on life. And we created a brand that honestly encourages women to accept who they are, first. And then it's like, yes, I am me, but I'm Latina, but this is what I want to do with my life. This is how I feel today, and this is how I see the future.
And I see that. I see that. And that's one of the things that I love the most because I can relate because I'm also Mexican American. I consider myself being like you, from the 200%, 100% Mexicana, 100% Americana. Like it is what it is. I love the Spanglish in the brand. I love your mission statement. This is what I read right on the website. Viva La Bonita, a lifestyle and apparel brand inspired by the mujeres who are fearless. I need to tell you, I was like, dude, I love that. I think you've done an amazing job. And I want to congratulate you for that because, dude, you guys, they have over 300,000 followers on Instagram. Now, did you come from a family, Rachel, of entrepreneurs or business owners?
No, no. I did come from a family though of big dreamers, and you know, I get asked the question a few times where it's like, "Oh, are you the first person in your family to dream big and make it happen?" And I'm like, "Well, no, I think within my family, the first person who had a big dream and made it happen for herself was my grandma. She took a risk. She migrated over to the US because like many of us, she was seeking the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandma had big dreams, not only for herself, but I think for her family and for her what could be, right? Her what could be was such a big dream of hers. And she worked really hard to really make her dream life of here in America happen. And it took sacrifice, it took loss. My grandma's been through so much, but when you meet her, you're just like, you're so like, how are you standing still? How are you so resilient and still have this positive outlook on life? And I think that, you know, seeing her and really just paying attention to her has really made me the person that I am today.
Now that we're talking about your grandma, on one of your shirts, it says, mind of a queen, heart of a warrior. It reminded me of her, of your grandma.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. Is that it? Am I right, kind of? Or would you
Yeah,
consider,
no,
yeah?
for sure. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, a lot of my collections are things that I would hear growing up, and they're takeaways from conversations that I've had with my grandma. Um, and
I
my
love
mom
that.
passed away when I was 11 years old, and my grandma took me under her wing instantly. Like, so just to see how in a moment of her losing her daughter, and
Mm.
she never skipped a beat. And I know that she dealt with her grief in her own way, but to see my grandma not grieve for years because she put us first was something that I'm just like, dude, you are not human. You're like an angel. Like
Es una
you,
santa.
yes, like
Oh,
I
wow.
don't understand how, like, what your magic is, but it's something that's so inspiring. And
And
the
it's in
brand,
you.
yeah, the brand is takeaways from all these conversations and just all these observations that I have of my grandma.
I honestly, and I could feel it, everything, even all your Instagram posts on Viva La Bonita, it's all inspirational. For instance, you are too bomb to be doubting yourself. I mean, there's so much, you guys, that I just can go on and on. I love every single piece. There is a reason behind it. And I truly believe in that, and not just bringing out things or promoting things just to promote them to make money. Like I'm a huge firm believer in that. It's like I have to stand 100% behind it, and there has to be a why and an inspiration behind it. And I can tell you guys right now, Viva La Bonita is just that. Their Instagram, you guys have to follow them. And even if you're gonna love the clothes, but just to feel inspired and say, okay, it's Monday. I need some motivation. Go to Viva La Bonita, and you're gonna be motivated, girls, for real. I also wanted to ask you, because I see you're a mother. You're a
Yeah.
mother. Are you a wife as well?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you juggle that? How do you find the balance between your home life and your business?
It's a struggle, I will tell you. It took a lot of discipline on my end because, when you have a business and you run a business, it's something that you created from nothing. It's going to consume your life. And
Mhm.
as big as we may seem on the internet to some people, we are still a small business. So I still wear a ton of hats. We are a staff of 7, and within
Okay.
that 7, it's my friends and my family. I hired my family first, and then I was
I
like, all
love
right,
that.
which friend wants to quit their job? But so we're a small but mighty business. So when you run a small business like that, you wear all of the hats. I feel like, me and my husband, because my husband is a co-founder of the brand. When I first brought to him the idea of Viva La Bonita, he was like, all right, like we're gonna have to figure out a way to really stand out and do what not a lot of people are doing, and that was the power of visual storytelling. And he shoots
Mhm.
his career, he has his own company, he shoots music videos, he creates amazing content. So he was like, I'm going to help you. Like, I want to really take your brand from like zero to like a million. So I was like, okay, so
Mm.
us working together, right? We also now we're in a relationship at the time, and now we're building a brand together. So
Mm-hmm.
it definitely, when I look back on my life, I'm like, okay, at a point in my life, Viva La Bonita consumed my 24/7. And it started to become really hard on my mental health to
Mm-hmm.
where I was like, why do I feel like I'm not enjoying this anymore? And it was because I was experiencing burnout. So when I realized that when a person experiences burnout, it's not because they're not made for this or you don't know what you're doing. It's like no, it's your body literally telling you like, bitch, stop. Like
Uh-huh.
stop, take a second, like
Smell the
breathe,
flowers.
be
Mm-hmm.
present, right? So
Absolutely.
learning the art of being present really helped me balance my mom wife work life.
Mm-hmm.
I had to have a conversation with not only myself, but my team because my team was so used to texting me at whatever time, right? Again, it's my family. We all love the brand. They love the brand probably even more than I do. So they're like, no, I'm down to work 24/7. Like if they have ideas coming in at 10 o'clock, like my sister's texting me, hey, what do you think about this? So I really had to sit down and be like, listen, guys, we're only working from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. because
Mm-hmm.
we need to take care of ourselves. Everything else can wait.
Yes.
And I learned, and I think like a lot of us in 2020 learned that so much of what we were doing to just chase a dollar didn't even matter anymore because
Yep.
it literally stopped overnight. And I feel like I was in this mindset around 2018 when I was like, no, from 9 to 4, I work. After 4 o'clock, I'm no longer accessible. And it was something really hard for me to, I think, say out loud because I've always been a people pleaser. Like, I've
I
always
feel you.
been like, no, 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 I got you, don't worry. Like, I put everybody else before me. And it was just something that I have been doing since I can remember. So for me to have this mindset where I was like, please do not contact me after 4 o'clock p.m. I felt like people were gonna be like, okay, who do you
You
think
didn't want to
you are?
disappoint anybody.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah.
disappoint. I don't want to. I in my head, I thought I was gonna offend my team,
Mm-hmm.
but no, it became a practice that we all do, and
That is so
we.
essential.
It's so essential. Our mental health got better. We learned how to appreciate our time so that when we clock in the next day, we're actually looking forward to the next day because we've had
Yes.
time to chill out, do whatever we wanted to do. I obviously hang out with my son, take him to soccer practice.
Mm.
I'm just in a position where my son inspires me to be the greatest person that I can be. My family, they're freaking amazing, and just
Aw.
spending time with them and having conversations with them honestly just fuels me for the next day. So
Yeah.
setting boundaries is honestly how I balance
And
this
see,
work wife mom life.
here's what I want you guys to get from this, guys. She was working at a retail, was working
Mhm.
retail. And when you want to start a business, it's like, what is missing on the market? What am I not getting? ¿Qué está faltando? ¿Qué me está faltando a mí?
Mhm.
And de ahí, that's where nace, you plant
Mhm.
this seed, and that's exactly what you did. And I feel like so many people are afraid. You have to take that leap of faith. And right now that we're talking about time management, thank you so much, Rachel, for being vulnerable and sharing that with us, because a lot of people just say, oh no, it's been boom, 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 I work. But no, it is so important. And that's something that I have also implemented the past couple of years, that I have to shut off. I need some time off. I will
Mhm.
work my butt off until freaking the last day of November. I need December and January off where I could just do lo
Mhm.
que se me dé la chingada gana, because if not, I'm going to lose, like you said, you were losing the passion of your brand. And then
Mhm.
you burn out. When you appreciate your team works even more for you, and they don't lose that love for the brand. So it's good that you implemented that in your own life and also your employees who are your family. And it's just trabajas con más ganas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You hear, yeah, I'm a hustler, I'm a go-getter, I work 24/7. You're gonna burn yourself out. I've had two
Yeah.
burnouts in my life where I have fallen on
Yeah.
my face, and it's just life and the universe telling you, hey, sit your ass down, take
Mm-hmm.
a breath, and look at the sun, look at the flowers, enjoy, take a deep breath. Sometimes we just want to keep going, like you said. It's the rat race of life. It's like, oh no, we got to keep going, you know, y le das, and no, it's not. It's very unhealthy.
And don't get me wrong, like I know like when you're building something, right? Like you gotta hustle.
Yes,
You
for sure.
gotta sacrifice all your free time. Like I want to say when I was building the brand, Fredo and I probably didn't go on a date, like a real date for like months. Months because it was like, all right, you're off of work. All right,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Like let's talk about this. Oh, you have a closing shift. Okay, before you go into work, maybe we should shoot some content. And we
Yes.
were on go, 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 go mode. But I knew that at some point I was going to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And in the building of everything and just like the fast, I guess, progression that we had with the brand and just, time, you don't realize how crazy and how uncontrollable time can be, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
unpredictable. But Viva La Bonita grew really fast. So I think that I just lost that that reminder or just lost that train of thought where it was like, hey girl, like take a moment to stop and look at everything that you accomplished.
Appreciate
Take
it.
a week off.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until I reached the burnout that I was like, oh my gosh. And I never want to feel like that again. I feel like when you experience burnout, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is a
Mm-hmm.
terrible feeling. I think everything
Horrible.
just falls on you and it's
Oh
mentally
yeah.
it's a lot. Um so I learned from those two experiences that I've had. But if anybody who's listening is like, building something, don't be afraid to hustle hard and sacrifice some of your time, but it's okay to put yourself first because I'm a very spiritual person. So when the universe sees me hustling, when the
Mm-hmm.
universe knows my thoughts, they know my intentions, they know my heart, the universe is going to have my back. And when I take a
Absolutely.
break, I know that the universe is not going to be like, oh, she doesn't want it, give it to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
The universe knows your intentions. And if you're a spiritual person, you'll understand what I'm saying. If you're not, just believe in the magic of knowing that your journey is already mapped out for you. You just have to believe that you're onto greater things. So when you take a break, it's okay. Even if somebody
It's
tries to
okay.
call you out and says, like you're taking a day off, like you're not in it to win it. It's like, no, I'm taking a day off because I'm in it to win it. Life isn't a
Yes.
race. I think that
Mm-hmm.
life is a marathon. You got to
Mm-hmm.
pace yourself and it's just really important to understand that.
See, you guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And let me go back to her Instagram because something that I loved. She's wearing a sweatshirt that says balance, and she wrote in her caption, "Finding balance is a lot. It's the in between living in peace and fighting for the right things, living my best life and dealing with grief since I was a kid, finding stillness in a chaotic life, putting myself first and being a mom. It goes on and on. But that in between moment has felt really good. I feel good. I know the universe listens and talks back. Estoy bien, gracias a Dios." It touched my heart. As I was reading it, me dan ganas de llorar because I'm like, I totally feel that. And everything you're saying right now, I'm like, I can relate, and it's so, I'm so happy that we're talking about this, and I'm glad that you cleared that up. That it's, yes, in the beginning stages of any business, you're gonna work,
Mhm.
and you have to like really probably work the first year 24/7, if not 24, I don't know, 6 something, but you have to put in the work. But then llegas el momento where you're like, hey, I have at least a day off in the beginning because it takes a little while. You got to nurture your baby, but then yeah,
Mhm.
when it's crawling and it's walking, let it, o sea, déjalo, and really take time, like Rachel said, to just breathe. I love that you appreciate your team. There's another post on your Instagram that I saw that you said, I started off alone, but now I have a whole team that helps
Mhm.
me, and that you wanted to highlight them. I'm such a firm believer in teamwork. If you don't have a team that sustains you, if you don't appreciate your team, todo se te cae. It could just fall.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me a little bit about that, about teamwork, and what the importance of it to you.
Yeah, it's just really important for me to highlight my team whenever I can, because I think that when you think Viva La Bonita, okay, you're like, who's the founder of Viva La Bonita? Let me connect with her. All right, cool. And then the public only sees me, and
Mm-hmm.
they might think like, you know, oh, okay, so Rachel is Viva La Bonita, but to me, it's like, no, my team is Viva La Bonita. Like,
Mm-hmm.
my sister, who helps run the warehouse, she has created a machine at the warehouse. My brother-in-law, who handles like, helps me with my digital marketing. And then we have one of my models, Marissa, who she was my very first model. We met through a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, are you down to like model some of my t-shirts? She's like, yeah. And she worked with me, grinded with me for about a year and a half until we got to the point where I was like, hey, I'm actually going to need some help on the content producing side. And I was like, I'm going to need you now to like, you're going to be not in front of the camera anymore. You're behind the camera, behind the scenes working it. And that was amazing. And then you have Fredo, who my partner, my husband, who is the co-founder of the brand, who all that dope content that you see, all those videos, that is him. He sits down with me
Wow.
and he's like, let's talk about the idea that you have. All right, cool. Let me help you bring it to life while you go worry about the 100 things that you have to worry about.
That's
And
dope.
yeah, and then we have my friend who I met working retail. She now handles our wholesale relationships. She was doing customer service for about 2 years before, she got her promotion. So there's
Mm.
these 7 people that work with me make Viva La Bonita. And if it was not for them, Viva La Bonita would honestly still be in stages A through Z, or A through
Mm-hmm.
C, because I know I could do A, B, and C by myself, but I can't do D through Z by myself. And
Yeah.
I'm just very lucky that I had a family and friends who believed in my brand before I believed in it. And I appreciate that so much, because there were times where I was like, you guys, I don't think I can do this. No, let's just say no to that email. And my team was like, girl, we
Uh.
got this. Say yes.
Oh.
And I always take the time to tell them that I appreciate them, because we do get in the day to day. And I'm not saying that you have to baby your employees, because I've heard conversations. I know people who are like, dude, my team knows that they're doing a good job because I'm in a good mood. I treat them good. And I'm like, yeah, but you gotta like tell them. And it's not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
that you're babying them. It's just that reminder, because your team is working probably just as hard or even harder than you at times. So
Yep.
you need to just check in and just say, hey, I really appreciate you. Thank you. And you don't have to
Yes.
have like these 30-minute conversations a day with your team. But I think that quick check-in, being like, hey, are you okay? Like, are you good? Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate what you're doing, because at the end of the day, like you said, if we don't have our team, everything is gonna fall. It's like building blocks,
Mm-hmm.
and your team,
Yeah. They're your
they're those
foundation.
blocks. They're your
Mm-hmm.
foundation. And I think that some people don't understand the importance of team. And I've been approached by a lot of young women who are starting their brands, and they're really afraid to do everything alone. And I'm like, listen, you have to do everything alone in the beginning, but I promise you, you're going to find your team, and your team is
Mm-hmm.
going to find you. It's like good karma, right? If you treat your team well and your team is happy, like the karma that's going to come for you, those team members are going to find you as the years go by. And I've been very fortunate that we're in that position right now. But my team
Yeah.
is everything to me, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to have conversations like today with you, because I'd be too caught up in I gotta send this email, I gotta send out these orders, I gotta design,
Yeah.
I gotta do all this. So I'm just very, very thankful for my team, and they're amazing.
like they say, teamwork makes the dream work.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And I love that you have, and I always tell everyone here listening, have an attitude of gratitude. And like Rachel
Hmm.
said, sometimes people are have too much of a big ego to say thank you to their employees, to the people that help them, because it's like, no, if I'm too soft, they're not
Hmm.
gonna, things aren't going to get done. No, like there has to be a balance in every area of your life. And I'm a firm believer in appreciating and valuing and showing your team that you value them and that you love them, and appreciate them, porque sin ellos, it's very difficult, and like Rachel said in the beginning, it'll be hard. You'll have to do it yourself, but then it'll get to a point where you're going to have to delegate, and also know when that time is. Sometimes we want to take control of everything and not delegate enough. So delegating is a great thing, you guys, when you get to that point. Rachel, before I have a few more questions before
Yeah.
we end the conversation, I just want to know, what would today's Rachel tell the Rachel when she first started Viva La Bonita? Like, I know, I'm sure, we all learn through trial and error. So I know the things that I could have done better, but is there anything that you would tell that Rachel when you were first starting?
I would tell that Rachel, that you're not going to have it all figured out, because you're going to put yourself in a space of consistent growth. So when you hit those moments where you feel like you don't know what you're doing, it's okay. It's all part of the greater plan. You're on to the next level.
Mhm.
The second thing that I would tell her is to let go of the mentality of que va a pensar la gente. Let it go. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
You need to do what makes you happy. Um, you need to make moves that are going to contribute to your happiness. You're going to have an amazing baby boy that you're going to have to also map out a journey for. And you have to block out the opinions of other people who are not going to make it with you to the finish line. And everything is going to work out.
Oh my
Everything will work out.
goodness. I love that. Well, what's next for you? What do you have in the plans for like this upcoming year? You know what I mean? Like for Viva La Bonita in your personal life, anything that you want to share with us?
Yeah, all I know, I don't know what's next. I mean, I think specifically because again, that's one thing I learned in 2020 is things just change and you just
Mhm.
have to learn to go with the flow. But honestly, like aside from specifics, I know that Viva La Bonita is going to continue to grow in places that I never thought we would get into. I think that we have lots of seeds planted. We have our partnership with Zoomies, we have our partnership with
Mm.
Nordstrom and Foot Locker. So I know that these
Dang.
spaces, these spaces that we're in, they're true partnerships, and I know that that's going to continue to grow within the next 5 years. So I'm really excited to see where that takes us. As far as Viva La Bonita, I just know that we're going to continue to figure out ways on how to navigate this new space that we're in, right? But figuring out ways to still stay true to who we are and our
Mhm.
core values and continue to get more creative on how we can continue to tell our stories. Um, and I just want to continue to focus on my health and my happiness because
Mhm.
that has to come first. Because if I'm not in a good space, then everything kind of just hits a
Yep.
stop. But I see a lot of health, happiness, and wealth in my future.
Amen. Amen. I know there are a lot of women like you, like us, that have this dream and don't know where to start. And in reality, you're an inspiration to them. So I wanna thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, for being vulnerable and sharing your story and sharing certain things that a lot of people wouldn't be open to doing so. So thank you. And before we wrap up, I want to do this new thing, Motivational Monday, and I want to share a quote with all of you. And I thought it would be the perfect quote because we're speaking to a business owner here. So this is my quote. Focus on being the happiest and hardest working woman who lives her life unapologetically, doing what she loves. Tell me that ain't you, girl.
Unapologetic. Honestly, that is an art. Being unapologetic is an art, and it won't happen overnight, but I promise with practice and consistency, your life will change. Just in all aspects, personal and professionally.
I learned that a few years back where it's like, you know what, this is what I do. This is what I want to do. I want to try it. I'm not going to worry about el que dirán, what are people going to say? So that is living unapologetically. But Rachel, thank you again. Is there anything that you want to tell our listeners? Do you have a quote that you want to share with them?
Yeah. I will leave it with be your loudest hype woman. That's been my motto since 2020, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to have your back the way that you have your back. And if you haven't found like your inner homegirl, it's a sign that you got to do some self-reflection, do the self-work, do the self-healing, and you'll find her. And when you find her, you're going to realize how far you can take yourself.
Yes. I think that's the best way to wrap up, you guys. Be your biggest hype woman, your loudest hype woman, your cheerleader, that person that's just like, girl, get up. You could do this.
Yeah.
Rachel, again, muchísimas gracias. Me dio mucho gusto platicar contigo. You have inspired me. I feel empowered after this conversation. I applaud you, and everyone follow Viva La Bonita. Check out their stuff, their website. I love your website, by the way. It's so easy to use. Oh my goodness. You have no idea. It is so easy to use. It's straight to the point. But before you go, Rachel, share your handles, Instagram. Where can we find you? Whatever you want, girl. This is your space.
Yeah, so you guys can find our website at www.vivalabonita.com. We also have our official Viva La Bonita app where you guys can download it. It's available for all iPhone and Android users. And on our socials, we're very active on Instagram and TikTok, and you can find us under @Viva La Bonita.
Love that. And just, by the way, I love Chingona Energy. I'm going to be using that, girl. I'm going to adopt that from you. So
yes. I love it.
Te aplaudo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. And don't forget to listen to Chiquis and Chill every Monday on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. This is a production of iHeartRadio and My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcasts, and follow me, Chiquis, on Instagram at Chiquis. And I'll see you guys next week. Les mando un beso, and remember, con Dios todo, sin él nada.